All right, Logan, welcome to the Liberty Ventures, or I should say now it's the Capitals for Capitalism podcast. I am really excited because I am pretty sure you are the youngest entrepreneur that we have invited onto the podcast right now. Still a senior in college. And when you and I met, you were actually just a junior in college applying to the principal business pitch competition. So let me just ask you to share your story all limited number of years compared to a lot of the others who join the podcast as an entrepreneur, as an individual, and then we'll get into everything else about Best Damn Tape and this awesome company that you've been building.
Alexander, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, and it's an honor to be here. I'm very, very excited. And Best Damn Tape was started, out of the frustrations that I saw as an athlete. It was, tape that goes around your hockey stick. You put it around the bottom of your stick, and you put it around your shin guards to keep your shin guards on tight, so you don't hurt yourself when you fall or do anything like that. And you know, tape was just failing me consistently. My friends, my teammates, and I knew after playing 18 years of it at a very high level that I had to change it. And not only did we make it better, but we made it the best. And moving into taking it full time here after school, so it's very exciting.
So you were a hockey player yourself. How long were you playing hockey?
Yeah, I was playing for pretty much my whole life, from 3 to 18 years old, so 15-year career. And I was a top 200 player in North America, so it was something that shouldn't be noticed by players. Something as small as tape shouldn't be something that a high level athlete is noticing, and that's the commitment that we make with all of our products, that you don't have to worry about that.
100%. And I mean, actually, to dig a little deeper into your story, I think you at one point wanted to go professional yourself, and so like you were really deep into the player side of this, right?
Alexander, it was my whole life. I had moved away at 15 years old from my family, and tried to go chase my dream. I lived with another family in Detroit and ended up being drafted into a few leagues that you go and develop in before you go play professional hockey, um, and then ended up actually playing in those leagues. And I got there and realized that you know this is hard and it's a lot. It's a whole new level, and I wasn't ready. And I wanted to create an impact and do something in the sport that I love. And in sports, I love business, and I love selling things. So I kind of put all of those things together and found a need that I saw throughout my whole life. I say it all the time, but my whole life was a customer discovery journey because, people were complaining, people were telling me exactly what they needed. So I just felt like I had to do it.
And that's exactly why I wanted to peel the layers of the onion back because you really have been on this customer discovery journey. The best businesses are started by people who feel a very particular pain and take it very seriously. And that's what led you to start Best Damn Tape in the first place. You've been on this journey for a long time and just switched over from the player side to the entrepreneur side, solving problems for players like yourself.
Yes, and I was so bent on providing impact in the sport and doing it in a bigger way than I could have ever imagined as a player. And, it's just such a full circle moment to, have the Philadelphia Flyers be the team that I loved growing up and actually skated at their Mites on Ice event when I was a young kid in the middle of their intermissions. And now I work with them. And it's just so surreal, and it's amazing. And I love that. I've created a great relationship with them, and the players enjoy the products.
I mean, being a Philly fan myself, I love that the Flyers are one of your customers and that you're supporting them too. Obviously, it's amazing. And I mean, don't want to spend too much time on this, but how was it starting this business and building it up while being a student in college? You still haven't even graduated yet. And for context, what's your ARR up to at this point that you've built up while you're a college student?
Yeah. At 18 years old, I had no idea what I was doing, even though I tried to convince myself that I did. And, looking back 3 years ago, we've made tremendous strides, and we're at $150,000 ARR, and really starting to explode into this next year with big retail expansions that we have underway, with some of the biggest retailers in the world. So that changes a lot for us, and extremely grateful for it. And our sport expansion into moving into boxing and football and basketball and doing all of that. But it's been the best learning experience about myself more than anything. It really takes entrepreneurship, especially as a college student, really takes that extra mile and that extra push to keep going. And that's what, separates people from doing it at a young age. And, you know, uh, I say it all the time as well. You're only going to be young once and have this much energy and this much time to chase something full speed ahead. I say, why not just throw yourself into it?
I couldn't agree more. At your age, that this really is the time to do the 18, 20 hour days, to just go all in on something. You're going to learn so much. You're going to get so many OODA loops to figure out how to get better and be able to pick up that momentum. And I'm really excited for when you graduate in just a couple of months and can dedicate yourself full time to Best Damn Tape and growing this as well. And so let me ask about that. Typically, we're talking with companies that are, say, in the tech space, or it's advanced manufacturing, some unique intellectual property that have the opportunities to more traditionally scale, say, to unicorn status. Just for anyone who is not familiar with the sports world or tape or this kind of CPG product, just how big can this actually be in your mind? What's your vision for where to take this?
You know, you have to be very delusional to be the founder of a company, and that's what I like to say we do, and then apply it to real life. Your delusion has to outpace everyone's understanding. And 3M is the largest tape manufacturer, adhesive manufacturer in the world. They do $6.1 billion a year, and you know that's something we're chasing, and that's something that I have said, that we want to do, whether wherever tape takes us. We really want to establish ourselves as a sports tape company, synonymous with, brand names that have been within sports forever. We want to be that within sports, and wherever it takes us after that, we are open to it. The market is extremely huge when you go into, how much tape is used in the world, but just the sports tape market hits $1 billion. And moving into industrial tapes and construction and entertainment, it turns into $50 billion out of nowhere with all of those other things added in. So it's amazing, and we are just gonna to ride with where the wind takes us. And I think especially with sports, we want to be that number one player.
So the size is there. That's really exciting. But what's your moat in protecting yourself here? As an outsider,
Yeah.
how much IP is there to tape? How much of it is this is just a brand play? What's the strategy for that?
Yeah, I think in the sports sector and across all of the tape companies, you see a few Super Bowl commercials and you see a few big things, and that's really all you see for the year. And we really want to stand there for the athletes and be there. So I'd say yes, the brand is going to be a huge moat as AI becomes more advanced, and society becomes more disconnected in some ways as things get more automated. We really want to be there and bridge that gap between just a product and a brand and turn it into one. And I think moving into it as well, we have been working on some IP things that are behind the scenes right now. But yes, there is a few bit of IP in there. It's just at the core basic level of it, all of these materials are already have been made for many, many years now. So you're really just refurbishing and having trade secrets to how much adhesive, what's the thread count, what is the different durabilities of these things. So that's what we like to really lean into.
And can you say here what makes Best Damn Tape different from the other stuff out there? Like for even just the first product
Yeah.
that got you started. What was different about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is a material difference as well. So most standard clear hockey tape, which goes around your shin guards, it's what all hockey players use to keep their shin guards and their socks up tight. And the normal material is made with polyethylene, a not stretchy kind of plastic packing material. And we use a completely different model of PVC. PVC allows it to stretch the material to stretch around your leg, and you can secure it. You don't have to just nonstop wrap it. So not only are they saving time and money with not using as much product, but it stays tight. And that was the thing that I went to earlier, is that it's not going to fall off because of the product that we're using and because of the adhesive that we have on there. That's the biggest thing. And I've turned into such a chemical guy behind the scenes with it, and it's been super fun to learn.
Why was no one doing this before though? Was tape just a secondary issue or an afterthought for a lot of
Yeah.
other sports companies, or what?
Yes, absolutely. And it's happened, I think, more and more over the years, is that these things were kind of set in stone. I think with hockey players too, they're very much so creatures of habit, along with a lot of other athletes. And things just never were innovated. And that's something too that we're always innovating. If we get a report, we're going to go back and test it and test our product and see what happened to it. And I just feel like a lot of the companies were so established for so many years at this point. Every one of my competitors are older than I am in my age on my time on this earth. So it's even in the hockey category. So I think it's just the loss of innovation and getting, comfortable where they have been.
All right, you're an upstart company, you're working with all of these great sports teams, and you're thinking about expanding, but of all the athletes that you've gotten to meet so far, I'm sure that you don't want to pick a favorite out of there. They're all your customers now, you support them all, but do any really stand out? Maybe that you were a big fan of as a kid, that you were excited to get to work with here?
Alexander, absolutely. One comes to mind that I was able to connect with through the Liberty Ventures Network, actually. Chris Pronger, NHL Hall of Famer, legend, Stanley Cup champion, Philadelphia Flyer. And I sent you a funny picture not too long ago of me and my mom actually waited in line for many, many hours to get a picture with him. And now I have the chance to, it's just so surreal. I have the chance to connect with him and tell him about what I'm trying to do in the sport of hockey after him having so much knowledge and experience in it, more than anything. And me, of course, being a lifelong fan, as he was my favorite player growing up. So just such a full circle moment. And I think being able to talk to my athletes too, that we have under the wing of Best Damn Tape, is awesome. I love being able to see into the elite athlete brain and their mindset. And I've created great friendships with a lot of them, and I'm excited to see what they do with their careers.
It really is something to get to support amazing people, whatever their career is, whether it's sports or entrepreneurship, and help them along. And I do really appreciate that you've leaned into opportunities in the Liberty Ventures Network. As I mentioned, the first one was you applying for our principal business pitch competition last year and actually making the final round at Freedom Fest to be able to pitch in front of people like Sean Nelson from Lovesac, Jennifer Sy from XXXY Athletics, and Steve Forbes even. And yeah, and this is one of the things that has really impressed me about you. You are out there hustling. You are taking advantage of every opportunity that you can find. I'm curious, what is it that you would be able to share with other entrepreneurs about that hustle mindset, about how to take advantage of opportunities, or even more broadly, just what you've learned along the journey, because you've reached a stage already that a lot of other entrepreneurs don't get to. They don't hit that kind of ARR. They don't have these kinds of partnerships. So, what are some of the key lessons you've taken from the last few years?
I sincerely appreciate that, Alexander. It means a lot to me. Uh, there's a lot of sacrifices being involved, especially during college and doing these things. But the biggest tool that I can that works for me is that you know, I'm a very gracious person. I can't tell you how many times I've thanked Alexander for everything that he's done for me. And, it's something that I think finding the degree of separation, the small degree of separation between you and another person, when you're face to face with them and really trying to connect. No, not can you fund my business? Oh, like you've been to Ohio. Oh, where have you been in Ohio? And doing these different things to just connect on a human level and a genuine basis, I think has pushed me farther ahead in life with the business and taught me so many things that I never could have even imagined. And I've met and created connections with people that in my wildest dreams, like I said, could have ever connected with. So just really applying yourself to that principle and also just working your butt off, 14-hour days. It's the way. There's really no other way around it other than to just keep going full speed ahead, uh, and outpace everyone else. That is the absolute goal, and to work harder than your competitors.
Yeah, and that ties in with what you said before about being a little delusional when starting a business, because otherwise, if it was an obvious thing to do, others would have tried it already, and if it was an easy thing to do, someone else would have succeeded there already. you have to be a little crazy to start a company. And I love you having the goal of taking on 3M and other tape companies and thinking about where to go. So let me actually ask you about that. Why tape in particular with the expansion? You could potentially go into just other products in the sports world and stay in sports, but it sounds like you're thinking focus on tape and expand into other industries after you capture the sports market. What's your rationale behind that right now?
It's an amazing question, Alexander, and I think it really relies on what I said before of I see that there's an area for a young, innovative brand to come in there and really take away market share. I think it's time for a disruption. It's been, so normalized in the industry that this, oh, that's them. They make the adhesive. There's nothing you can really do about that. Oh, they make that tape. There's nothing you can really do about that. But I think there is. And that's what we want to do. And I think with this goal, you know, with that in mind, of course, the revenue standpoint and the market standpoint, but what I like to say all the time is that this company, what I'm doing this for is to have, kids ask for it on Christmas, have companies rely on that product and ask for that product and, of course, create wealth for everyone involved in it. Those are the three core things. And I think that matches hand in hand with taking down a giant like 3M.
It's a bold and exciting vision, Logan. I am super excited for where you're going to take this. You know, one of the things that we really emphasize at Liberty Ventures and Principal Business, as you know, is the opportunities to live up to the potential of capitalism. And what I think is really amazing is that you're focused on something that most people, including myself, would just overlook, specifically tape as a particular area to really build up and develop this unique approach and a full company around it. And so I just want to give you accolades for that. Really excited for where you're going and creating this kind of opportunity within capitalism. But as we're getting close to the end here, the last question I want to ask is, what does the next year ahead look like for you? What are your goals? What are your plans? And what can others in the Liberty Ventures Network do to help you with that?
Graduating college here in May 16th at 4 p.m. I walk across the stage. May 16th at 5 p.m. my full-time job starts. And I'm very, very excited. I couldn't be more ecstatic to really dive into it. And at that same time, we have a lot of things in the pipeline executing at retail with the number one company in the world, Walmart, and really trying to, drive value not only for us, but of course them and on their shelves. And rolling out with other specialty sport retailers, so a full retail plan, moving into football, basketball, these other sports, and starting testing those grounds to keep expanding and you know building out this team and growing it to be the biggest tape company in the world. That's the next goal for us, and it's going to happen, and we're going to make it happen. And everyone in the Liberty Ventures Network, I would just appreciate it so much if you would just support, follow along with our journey. We will actually, we're also always looking for people to, join the team, join the family. Everyone that works with us is part of our family, including Alexander in the Liberty Ventures Network. So I would love, love, love to connect with anyone who would be interested in chatting.
Well, Logan, I have no doubt that you're going to achieve all of that, that you're going to do amazing things. And it really is just a pleasure to get to play a small part in supporting you with that. So thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate you and I appreciate the network so much.